Hey guys, let's start with new chapter of Loyal Pin Volume 2, Chapter 43, Lady of the Bedchamber. I heard they already had the auspicious date and time, right Prick? Suddenly, Princess Anil, who was currently sitting, reading on a single sofa in her bedroom at the front palace, asked a non-specific question to Prick. Yes, my lady, Prick answered before bowing her head. At this time, her umber eyes didn't seem to contact Princess Anil's sad eyes because she feared she would be so sorry for Princess Anil that she couldn't hold back her tears. Whence the engagement? Princess Anil continued to ask questions without taking her eyes off the textbook in her hand at all. 3 days from today, my lady. Oh, Princess Anil raised a smile to the corner of her lips. Nevertheless, her gloomy eyes are noticeable, as quick as Auntie Pat's desire, right? They said that this is an auspicious date and time. Rick smiled dryly at this time. The Pua Palace at this time must be busy. Not at all. At this point, Rick kept moving her body around like a restless person. The engagement ceremony will be held in the royal hall here at the front palace. Princess Anil suddenly lifts her face from the textbook to meet Prick's eyes in surprise. Is it being held here? Yes, my lady. It was the king's idea. Prick glanced with a twitching eye, not knowing how to behave. Ha! Princess Anil hoarsely laughed. Suddenly I felt that the vast Saptarat palace had no place left for me to sit or stand anymore. During this time, it is a good idea for you to return and stay at the Pine Palace. I can't, Prick. During this time, my mother came to sleep with me every night. She won't let me get away anywhere. So, how about to rush to build Thaksin Palace then? Hearing Prick speak so innocently, Princess Anil laughed for the first time in several days. She just kept talking. Princess Anil closed the textbook before turning to talk with Prick more seriously than before. Texan Palace was the idea of the king, not my desire. The king said to build it for you to stay, my lady. Probably good. If Khunkua marries and came to stay at the Bua Palace, it wouldn't be able to endure living in the Pine Palace and seeing such harrowing images daily. Princess Anil shook her shoulder. I will give the Pine Palace to you. I don't dare to go to such a thing soon. The lice will eat my head. Note, the lice eats one heads in a Thai idiom, meaning a servant imitating their boss. Rick said, bowing her head so slow that it almost touched her knees. Besides, wherever Prince Anil lives, I will live there too. Thank you very much, Brick, for not leaving me like others. Princess Anil's eyes stared absent-mindedly towards the bedroom window. But it seems like it will be very long time. I haven't sketched up the palace design yet. I can't wait. Prick wide bright smile to Princess Anil. The gesture allowed Princess Anil to laugh. Where's she now? Do you know? Princess Anil spoke while turning the ring on her right ring finger. Princess Anil recently had this behavior only after a significant incident occurred in the reading room that day. Princess Anil's, who is she? Prick said innocently. Is that person? Princess Anil left someone's name on purpose. Nevertheless, Prick knew Princess Anil's heart well enough not to ask too much about it. At this time, Khunpin is supervising servants to make the Oba garlands in the royal hall below, my lady, Prick said while shrinking her neck like a turtle, shrinking its head in its shell. When Princess Anil heard this, her heart suddenly twitched. Her chest felt an intense heat, as if a fire was burning within. She hasn't seen her for many days. Nevertheless, if you ask if she wanted to meet her or not, the answer is, of course, no. The layout of the front palace. If you wish to go down to the ground floor, you have to go through the stairwell. Unfortunately, that area was often where Princess Padmika conscripted her servants to sit and prepare flower bushes and uba garlands throughout the hall. If I was still a little child playing mischievously with you by now, I would have tied a cloth to the head of the bed and rappelled downstairs through the window. Doing this, you won't have to go through the stairwell. Oh, my lady, you just walk downstairs nicely and don't even have to look at Kunpin. Rick offered with good intentions. I can't pretend that I don't look at her. Princess Anil looked at a platinum ring on her hand with eyes that looked as if they were wry. Nevertheless, deep down there were traces of cracks all mixed. Well, this pair of eyes of mine meant to look for the person all my life. Suddenly, I have to pretend to ignore her and not look at her. I can't do that. Oh, oh, my dear princess, Prick said, clutching both her hands tightly on her chest, worrying about her overlord. As long as the person is downstairs, I will stay in the room like this. Princess Anil turned and picked up a sizable thick textbook and placed it on her lap before pretending to open it and reread it with interest. Then I will go down and bring something to eat for you. Rick also suggested it because it was already a little bit past noon. Okay, I would like some tea and snacks. I don't feel hungry at all. You don't eat much in this late morning and also yesterday evening, Rick mumbled. I don't feel any appetite. Princess Anil only said that and silently bent down to read a book. It was a sign that she wished to stop her conversation with Brick. Brick sighed softly and slowly stepped out of the room and into the kitchen towards the back of the front palace. On the way down the stairs, Brick couldn't help but secretly glance at Lady Pelantita's slender figure and found that her beautiful, sweet face was now pale and white, not as flawless as ever. Moreover, her eyes looked tired, as if she hadn't slept for many days and nights. Pelantita accidentally made eye contact with Prick momentarily and quickly turned in other direction. Prick held her breath and walked past Khunpin, excited as if she were in a dispute with Khunpin herself. Prick disappeared towards the kitchen momentarily and returned with a tray of tea and a plate of few cookies until Princess Padmika, observing the servants' work, even had to ask questions. May Prick? Your Highness? Prick bowed low when she heard Princess Padmika call her. Is that Princess Anil's tea? Her sharp eyes looked suspiciously at the tray that Prick was holding. Yes, my lady. At this time, shouldn't you bring food, not snacks, isn't it? Princess Padmika's powerful, resonant voice quickly reached Pilantita's ears. Princess Anil wishes to eat only this, Your Highness. She said she can't eat much these days. Prick bowed her head after answering Princess Padmika's question with a respectful expression, but her umber eyes seemed to have many criticism words hidden inside. Is that so? Princess Padmika's elegant face filled with worry. The thoughts about a spouse between Princess Anil and her are entirely different. Nevertheless, with duties embedded in Princess Padmika's consciousness, she was accustomed to fulfill every wish that Princess Anil desired. Then please ask Princess Anil if she wants food. I will cook them myself. Yes, Your Highness. Prick simply replied that way, for at this time she was annoyed at Princess Padmika and Lady Pelantita, who had dared to cause her overlord such pain. Pelantita looked at Prick, carrying the tray of tea up to the upper floor until she was out of sight, because every time she saw Prick, it seemed like something connected to make her feel as if she had also met Princess Anil. She unintentionally imagined Princess Anil's gesture when she lifted her tea and took a sip while either reading or looking blankly out the window, or playing some international records containing soothing melodies on the record player, and then started drawing various architectural designs or drawing pictures as she liked, or draw a picture of her, or maybe not drawing a picture of her, and might not draw a picture of her again because she already hates her. Pelantita couldn't be sure. Kunpin? Kunpin? Yes, Auntie. What are you so distracted about? There are a lot of things to do right now. Auntie's voice was stern in many parts. Please forgive me, Auntie. Pelantita answered softly before lowering her head. She continued to make a single string garland that required a lot of skill from her. Meanwhile, the vice prince's luxurious black car drove in and parked in front of the palace. The people who got out of the vehicle were not just the vice prince. Nevertheless, he was followed by his fiancée, Orneda, and her younger sister, Alisara. Two ladies greeted Princess Padmika before turning to greet Pilantita. Do you want me to give you a hand, Kunpin? Thank you for your kindness, Kunon, but I probably wouldn't dare to disturb you. Please rest in the waiting room first. Pilantita smiled faintly at the two siblings. Ornida followed the vice prince to the guest hall, while Alisara stood still and raised her head, looking for someone all the time. Pilantita had always wondered why Kunon had such a long vacation, because she didn't see any sign that Kunon would return to study for her last semester in England. Kunpin, where's Princess Anil? Finally, she turned and asked Pilantita, who had a dazed expression. She's probably in her bedroom, Kunon. What a pity. Kunon sighed. Today I have some lessons that I would like to discuss with Princess Anil. It must be another chance. Pilantita smiled softly. Unfortunately, when Kunon was about to give up, Prick walked down the stairs just at that time. Oh, Prick! Kunon's eyes were like those of a lost person who suddenly saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, Kunon. Prick, who had planned to come down to eat lunch in the kitchen, stopped walking when she heard Kunon say hello. Please help me tell Princess Anil that I have come to see her. Prick heard this, and instead of accepting Kunon's request, Prick couldn't help but secretly looked at Lady Pilantita. She was surprised. She didn't see Lady Pin's eyes as upset as expected. The story was in the opposite direction, as Lady Pin's yellowish brown eyes filled with a glimmer of hope. Yes, Kunon. Prick was forced to bow her head and accept Elisara's words. With no other choice, she walked back toward the direction she had just come from in a hurry. Once again, Pilantita looked along Prick's back until she was almost out of sight unexpectedly. Nevertheless, Pilantita allowed herself to hope. She hoped to see Princess Anil walk down the stairwell to welcome her friend. It's been many days since she hasn't seen her. If asked whether Pilantita would like to meet or not, the answer is still yes, even though with an ignorance gesture because Princess Anil would still be angry. If she could see only a part of Princess Anil's beautiful face, Pilantita would exchange with everything that she had. Pilantita's heart was so focused on waiting for Princess Anil's arrival that even a few minutes seemed like an endless amount of time. Nevertheless, it turns out to be Prick who walked back to Kunon alone. She won't allow me to see her? Kunon's face turned inactive as soon as she saw Prick's face. Not at all. Prick intended to speak as quietly as possible because she was in awe of Lady Pilantita. She asked me to invite you to meet her in the bedroom. Really? Alisara smiled so widely that she could barely control it. She followed Prick up the stairs towards Princess Anil's bedroom with a cheerful expression on her face. Meanwhile, Pilantita's heart as she looks, many questions keep popping up in her head. Is it appropriate to welcome guests in the bedroom? Didn't you say that you didn't have feelings for Kunon? Or that the words you had spoken were a lie? If you welcome guests in the bedroom, you can do whatever you want in a secret place like that. Kunpin? Kunpin? My lady? What is it, Pikoe? Lady Pin was startled a little, as she had just woken up. Don't press the garland so hard. Look, the garland is all crushed. It looks like I might have to restring it. That's it for this chapter, guys. And I'll see you next with chapter 44. And with bottom of my heart, I would like to thank all the new subscribers for your support and your love. Thank you.